I apologize for the vertical phone, but this is working, so I'm going to use it. But anyway, there are a couple of dead horses I tend to beat. And one of those is teachers taking martial arts lessons. So it seems like the teachers in Baltimore, Maryland, I think particularly in Baltimore City, they are forming a student safety, a school worker safety force because a couple of teachers and a cafeteria worker within the past few weeks have been assaulted by students. Man, and what I'm going to say about the dead horse is that they need to have those people take martial arts lessons. But I was thinking today, when I heard this yet again, I'm thinking maybe those troubled students could be assigned to take martial arts lessons. Now, that's not going to be an end-all, be-all, and it's not going to just be you could teach them how to do a few kicks and some forms and maybe a little bit of groundwork, and they're going to be off to the races and completely cured. One thing that one of the school administrators had said that I definitely agree with, I'm going to put a link to those videos below this, is that they got to think about the entire culture that they're forming at the school. I mean, personally, I think the problem is much bigger than whatever culture's at the school. I think we got a bunch of people running around in this country who don't think that there's a problem with taking drugs, who think it's cool to act violent and rude and ignorant, and they're passing that on to their children. You got a bunch of abusive parents who are being real aggressive towards their kids, and then in turn their kids learn to be aggressive. And even if you are parenting correctly, you have the influence of the environment that the children are in. And also, some of those children probably just have mental problems. They are probably mentally ill, they haven't been diagnosed, and they need to be treated. Our country really needs to do better with mental illness. I don't know why, because I know some people that have mental problems, and I don't know why they don't get more help. Some people will say, oh, they just don't get help. No, it's not just the patient. You can't expect a sick person to necessarily be able to treat themselves properly or know to go to get treatment, especially if the problem is in the mind. It just doesn't make any sense for you to expect that. But what they can do, since you can't change the behavior of the students overnight, or even over a month, over a day, over school, over a year, what they can do is better prep these teachers to be able to defend themselves. Better prep these school workers to be able to defend themselves. They're bringing in school psychologists to help with students that have mental issues. And some of the schools are also bringing in school safety and security personnel to better, physically handle students that have mental issues. But you have got to prepare the teachers and the workers themselves. Because the police, the psychiatrists, are not God. They are not everywhere at once, and they are not going to always be able to save you. Maybe if you learned how to defend yourself against a student that's attacking you, you might survive the attack if the attack could have been fatal. If the attack wasn't going to be fatal, you probably would be less injured than what you would have been if you knew anything at all. And if it wasn't going to scale up to that degree, you might be able to diffuse the situation and restrain the student so that when the law gets there, they don't have to pull out the sticks and the tasers and the things like that. I'm talking from experience. I am a civilian who has restrained people several times. A few times as an adult and a couple times when I was a child. And it was all because of my martial arts training. Okay? Now, having said that, these days, that does not make me Mr. Restrainer Man. I reserve the right, especially since I'm knocking on 50, to not risk a heart attack to hold somebody down. But I do think, since I do know what I know, I have a responsibility to pass it on to people who are young enough. I hate to put it that way, but the people who are young enough to be able to deal with this stuff without risking having to take an extra blood pressure pill or, getting a heart attack or something. I know I'm ragging on my age group, but it's the truth. I mean, hey, look, I'm getting old, man. What can I say? It's the truth. Maybe if we would teach the teachers and the school workers to defend themselves, people would get shot less. And so, there are just some students, and I'm going to close with this, that it's Game of Thrones out here, and they're like the Dothraki, and they're only going to respect somebody who can shut them down physically. You know this. We know this. Let's shut them down physically, but without having to put them in the hospital, or without having to end up in the hospital yourself, or if you're going to go to the hospital, without having to end up dead. And sadly, even with that said, the martial arts, it can't protect you from, you're not immortal, you're not bulletproof, you're not knife proof. You can still get shot, you can still get stabbed, you can still get jumped, you can still get raped. I mean, you can still, get hit by a nuclear bomb and all kinds of stuff. But I do know it does help. And, you may think it might be a crazy requirement to go, let's make all of our school workers and staff and administrators black belts. But you know what? I mean, if you're going to keep having public schools and the public school violence just keeps going up and up and up, what else are we going to do? So, stick the martial arts option in there as another tentacle on your squid or octopus that you're going to use to wrap your arms around the problems that are affecting the youth and our society. Because, if they go to a violent school, they may come out to be violent people, and they're traumatizing other people around them who don't want to be a part of that violence. So in the end, we all lose. So, thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this with people who like to talk about the martial arts. Come on, school system. Let's get these school workers and teachers trained in martial arts and teach them the morals with it. Don't turn them into bullies themselves. Maybe these students that have problems can learn how to work out some of the problems they have through martial arts. And peace.